Hello, I'm Brittany. Welcome to my channel. Today I'm making a quilted skirt. I usually wear fleece lined tights during the winter, but honestly I hate wearing tights. And with it getting colder, I thought doing this now would be a good idea, so then it's ready on time. So I pulled out my trusty pattern that I use so often. Sorry if you hear the crinkling. I've used this pattern so many times, so honestly, like, even if it wasn't free from Mood, it would have already paid for itself, because, like, holy cow. And I also have this belt waistband pattern that I drafted up that I have for whenever I need a waist belt pattern. This is not available on my Etsy shop, but hey, if you're interested in something like that, put it down in the comments below. So here are the pins that I saw on Pinterest that inspired this project. But the thing is, I actually have, it's off camera, but right over there I have a chair full of scraps of felt fabric. Some of them are from previous projects. I've also been graciously given a whole bin of fabric from a family friend, and there was a bunch of felt in there, so I have a lot to work with. Okay, there wasn't quite enough of the star fabric to do both an outer lining and an inner lining, and I'm debating on if I care or not, but yeah, so I did purposely do the front instead of on the fold, and then I tried to add a little bit of seam allowance here. Because I know that I want it to be a lace up front, so that it doesn't add too much bulk. I feel like I'm not. Yeah. Although I do know that I will need to cut out at least this part with this of the fabric for the top. So I do still need to do that. I forgot about that. Okay. Okay. Which means I need to pull it out again, which is fine. There is plenty for a lining up here, because what I did was I realized first of all, I wouldn't have had enough I was like, okay, you know what? I don't need bulk. from my waist to my hip. So basically in my belly region. So like for right here is how much I think I went down for them. So I will need at least that much with this for a lining. Hopefully that makes sense. I did also cut out a bunch of bias tape to finish the hem and the sleeves. The sleeves. Oh my gosh. The hem and the seams, not sleeves. All right. That actually took a bit more to doing than I was expecting. This will be the front. This is the back. So I have the bias tape. I have this. This is okay. So I guess I did make. See, I didn't want to cut the pattern. So I kind of just try to estimate the right. Yeah, that's the front and the back. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, just a warning, it is Halloween night, so there are people everywhere. So Zoe might be barking a lot. I apologize. But, so I was laying this out, and I was like, oh, it doesn't have to be pretty, because it needs to be functional. Then I was looking at this, and I'm like, And then I saw in my fabric stash that I do still have this white fabric. So I might do this on the outside. I mean, like, it's not pretty. I mean, like, I might do some, like, quilts type stitches, but I don't know. I haven't fully decided that yet. But, so I'm gonna do this as the lining, and this is the outside. So I guess I don't need as much bias tape. Or probably not at all. But you know, it's what it is. I definitely think, or you know what, I might still, because I'm still debating on if I should do the fleece and this together, like sew it together, and then sew this together, and then like sew it together, creating the hem and maybe like the top kind of a thing, or you know, like, or should I just sandwich them all together and then have a not enclosed seam, and then I can use the bias tape that I made for the inside? Am I making any sense to anyone besides myself? You know what, that might be easier, because then what I could do is I could sew all 3 layers together for each panel, and then do the quilt stitching, and then sew them together, sew the panels together, because that makes it a lot easier to do on my machine, since I don't have any fancy like quilting machine, or wait, is there a quilting machine, or like any what people use for when they're doing this on quilts? Hopefully I'm making sense. I was in the middle of cutting, and Monsieur Handsome decided to jump up. Luckily I reacted in time, but I could have cut your whiskers. Oh my gosh, I could. I reacted in time, but like it went janky, so. But here is what I've done so far. I sandwiched all of these together along the hem, and this is what it will look like folded over. I do have to press it, and then I will probably top stitch this down and then do the quilting stitches. I haven't decided what kind of quilting stitches I'm going to do, but I definitely don't want to just wing it. And then I will sew all the panels together. So far, so good. Also, I don't know if I fully showed you, but this is about the hip line where I stopped it because I didn't want too much bulk at the waist or above. So that's why I did that. And then since this is the center front, this right here is where the lace up will be. And then I haven't decided how low, maybe like to here, the gap will be. Something like that. So yeah, that's where I'm at. All right, so I finished quilting all the panels, and now I have sewed them all together. Although with so many layers, I guess it's bound to happen, but it looks like I had a little bit of an issue with that, so I'm gonna have to fix that. Finish the seams in here, and then also do the lining on the top. Oh, I didn't do the front part because this is supposed to be attached in front, so doing that as well. So I have finished hand sewing down the top lining part. Now all I have to do is add the grommets, and I'm done. Alright, I think that should be enough. Now all I need is the ribbon. Alright, on to the reveal. Wrap up. Pros and cons. I was outside and it's, let me see, 36 out. Holy cow. Okay. So it was 36 out. My legs were nice and toasty, so that's good. Although I do have yoga pants under it. So it did keep me warm. Everywhere else was kind of cold. But so that's good. So it's working, keeping me warm. This was a very easy project. I wasn't quite a weekend, but it was just a little bit longer than a weekend that it took for me to whip this together. Spur of the moment idea. I will say the whole idea of having it up here further and corseted was to try and eliminate any bulk up here. And I don't know if I did that because I realized after I finished there's about 3 layers of fabric right here anyway. I mean, it's not the fleece, but it is what it is. Also, I had a little bit of an issue with the fleece where there was tension on the fleece because the table I was cutting it on wasn't big enough, so I had to have some of it off of it, and I think that added some tension to it because after I cut it out and I was laying it against the white cotton and the flannel, it was slightly smaller than them, and so I did lose a little bit of width size. So it is a bit snugger than I was hoping for. I was hoping I could wear this like over petticoats. I'm wearing it over yoga pants right now, and it's fine and comfortable. It's just I don't think I'd be able to wear it. I'd have to wear this under a petticoat. I wouldn't be able to have it over a petticoat. There just wouldn't be enough room. I did end up having the fleece on this back, so that does create a slight bit of friction. So getting it over my yoga pants was a bit tricky. So I think if I were to just like put it on first and have it against my skin, it would go on a lot easier. Let me see, what are the other cons? I think maybe this does kind of like stick out a little bit where the opening is. So I might add a few more grommets down there just to keep it together. Trying to decide if that would be uncomfortable. I don't know. Also, I didn't realize it, but like the salvage edge where, like, you know, where it has like the puncture holes from the machine, is kind of showing through here down the center front. It's just a petticoat. Nobody else is going to see it but me. It's just something that irritates me as a... I'm like, I tried, but I didn't want to lose any more width. You know, so I couldn't not have that showing. So yeah, I think if I were to ever do this again, I'd make sure that the fleece is the right size, because I lost a couple inches because of that, and that was frustrating. I was debating on whether I wanted to get fancy and do like embroidery, but then I was like, I need this now because it's been cold. The other day, we actually, for my mom's birthday, we went to a restaurant, and the restaurant was so stinking cold. I was like, I wish this was finished, because then I could wear it under the dress I was wearing, because it was so cold. It was miserable. So yeah, I just like, I'm like, I just need it to be functional. It doesn't need to be pretty. And that's something that, like, with the slip that I made this past spring, where I'm like, it needs to be functional, but I kind of wanted it to be pretty too. I don't think I succeeded. I do think like the lace on the top is pretty enough where, like, because it sometimes sticks out a little bit and you can see it, and I'm fine with that because it's the nice pretty lace. The rest of it isn't too fancy, but it doesn't need to be. It's under clothes. You never really see it. So it's functional. And that's okay. You know what? That's okay. But yeah, if you made it this far in the video, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you're not subscribed, think about subscribing, and you can hit the bell so you get notified every time I post a new video. Thank you for watching. I hope to see you next time. Bye.